this Thursday night. It's the Colts facing the Titans, who will go to Fitzpatrick now full-time the rest of the season without Lockett. The Colts smarting after that 38-8 battering they took from the Rams and their little wide receiver returner who put on a show. And we welcome in Steve Mariucci. Steve, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Mike. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this as we get to this rumor part of the season again. And for years, just like you hear with Gruden and everything, your name was always there. You had a very successful career coaching. Are you surprised this years later that you never went back to coach?
Am I surprised?
Yeah, are you surprised you didn't go back to coach? You had plenty of chances.
No,
are you surprised?
I miss coaching sometimes. I enjoyed the heck out of it at the college level or the pro level, but you got to, when you go back in that arena, you got to decide, you got to be really committed, you got to be fired up about it 100%, no doubts. And I have a TV gig that I'm really enjoying. And so I don't feel the need to have to go back on the field, even though it's awesome. It's an honor to be a coach in the National Football League. But I kind of like doing what I'm doing right now. I get to talk to you on the phone once in a while. I get to hang out with all these Hall of Fame players and do shows. It's been a lot of fun for 8 years now.
Yeah, no, and you're good at it, no question. And that's why I think people are surprised when some of these guys like Cowher or Gruden find a home, like yourself, find a home in this business. You know, it keeps you around the game. It keeps you in a sport you love, and you don't have to worry about all the other things, right?
Exactly, and that's why there's about 8 of us that are doing television as former coaches, and I think every one of us love it, and we really enjoy it, and so if we were digging ditches or something, it might be different. Maybe you need to go back into coaching, but we just, like you said, stay in the game. We get paid to talk about football that we love, and so there are no complaints.
All right, this week you've all been asked to talk about everything but football with what's going on. Now the Dolphins are going to put together this committee with Don Shula and Tony Dungy, Curtis Martin. They went and found a lot of guys who have high credibility to, I guess, examine. And I heard Howie Long say something the other day when I got home after doing my morning show on Sunday, and he said something that's very true. He said, you know what? I don't know exactly what the culture is in every locker room or how it's changed since I left, but we can all agree on one thing. It's never going to be the same again, and that's going to be the truth. They're going to outlaw everything. They're going to basically say you can't haze, you can't have kids buy meals. They're going to basically get together and make a list and say you can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, and that's true. And it's the social media now, everything, there's no secrets anymore, really, and you try to keep things in-house as much as you can in any work environment, and it gets out. And so this is not a hazing or necessarily a bullying issue completely. This is an HR issue, and it's harassment in the workplace, and it's going to be addressed. We know that. It's like anything else. When T.O. pulled a Sharpie out of his sock, the next day we all got a memo saying, all right, no more props, no more Sharpies or cell phones out of the goalpost. Remember that?
Yep.
And the league comes down with a new rule or new mandate, and I'm expecting that to happen with this situation about behavior in the workplace. Whatever the culture might be, there will be some parameters about rookie shows and rookie hazing, and Jonathan Martin's not even a rookie, but it's about behavior, and it's about being a professional, and it's about the rules of the road, so to speak, within any workplace, and I think the National Football League, too, will be governed by some of the same rules.
All right, let's put it back on the field. We're talking with Steve Mariucci. The Colts, who had really done some wonderful things this year, had not had one of those games. Now, that game's a freaky game because you get the little kid, and he returns a punt 98 yards, and he catches 2 bombs. So he catches about 250 yards of real estate on 3 plays and breaks the game sky high open. So it happens. But you could tell the Colts were very annoyed from a coaching staff point with the fact that they're not protecting their quarterback and that they had those kind of breakdowns at home. They were very angered by that game.
Well, they should be, because half the games, Mike, in this NFL go down to the last possession, okay? Half. And that speaks to some parity. There will be an occasional upset, of course, but as far as a surprise blowout upset game, this was it. This was the biggest surprise of the season. 38-8 at home for the Colts, who have a good football team, And really, we've seen the Rams have a couple clunkers, right?
Yep.
We had them on Thursday Night Football against the Niners, and it was no contest.
Yeah, they were terrible.
And so this was a shocker for everybody, including the Colts. And I think it showed up not having Reggie Wayne. You know, they were unable to move the ball much in the first half against Houston, but then they came back at the end with a couple of big plays and won that game. But this one seemed to expose their lack of a Reggie Wayne on the field. And, of course, the other thing that's a little bit concerning is, you know, they traded a number one pick
for Trent
Richardson.
For a running back, which makes no sense.
Well, and he's not playing all that much. He's not getting a lot of touches. And for some reason, this just doesn't look like it's working out. His production does not match what they traded for him for.
That and it's funny, out of all the whole week, you think they're on their special teams or their secondary. The thing they were most angry about was they don't like their quarterback getting hit. They said, you know what, we're not happy with this offensive line. We don't want him getting hit this many times.
Well, you see what's happening in Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, Indianapolis saw what happens without their franchise quarterback a couple years ago. When Peyton didn't play, it just went in the tank. And so that they have to avoid that. The body only has so many hits, okay? And they've got to minimize it because Andrew Luck has got to be on the field every game playing well. Otherwise, it's bad news in Indy or any city, really. So, you know, this has exposed some issues. You got to remember the Rams now, their pass rush pretty darn good.
They have a good pass rush.
They've made it miserable for Russell Wilson a couple weeks ago too, right?
Yeah, no, they have a good pass rush. Yeah.
So Jeff Fisher's doing a good job. You got to give them some credit.
Yeah, and listen, everyone was waiting for that kid to explode, and he finally did. I mean, everyone was waiting for Austin to finally make a couple of big plays, and he finally did. He made 3 big ones in that game.